Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the start of season 11. This is chapter 151, The Origin Story. Now, as I've said in the last season, this season is going to be a bit of a soft reboot. So I decided to, start it like a soft reboot and tell you all about the beginnings. Well, I'm going to keep the technical stuff for the end of the episode, the last 5 minutes of it, because, if you are listening to this and you're a long time listener, you'll want to listen to what I say first. And if you're a first time listener, this might be more interesting than the minutiae of how I record and publish these episodes. Now, my drink today is a classic for this show. It's Coke Zero. That is right, at the beginning of each episode, I will tell you a drink that I am drinking. It tastes like Coke Zero. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes there are more exciting stuff, though. It's been a while since I had that cactus flavored soda, though, so look forward to that. Well, let's start. First of all, you might be wondering, and if you aren't, that's completely understandable because it's not something hugely important to wonder. You might be wondering, where does the name come from? The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. I've had 150 episodes of this show alongside around 9 special chapters, which are usually longer than 20 minutes, which is the normal amount of time for each episode, by the way. So yeah, if you're bored already, just 18 minutes left to go. I think I might have explained it before, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to do it right now because it's the origin story. We are doing a prequel right now, so we need to get back to the beginning and get where the name comes from. The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind is a semi-pretentious name that I came up when I was a semi-pretentious, teenager. I wrote a short story in high school. In high school, I used to write stories. They are all spectacularly bad. I know this is kind of a cliche for writers to look at their early works and say these are bad, but these are genuinely shit. I didn't know how to write well. I didn't know how to just tell a story, and funnily enough, I got a bunch of awards for that. So it tells you the state of story writing in Iran, that I managed to win awards with those shitty stories. But yeah, they weren't really good. The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind was a story that I wrote about a guy being hanged. Now, capital punishment in Iran is incredibly prominent, like as far as I remember in my life, and it's been ramping up recently. And due to the now deceased president, but as far as I remember, capital punishment has always been present in everyday life. One of the first movies I remember going to the cinema and seeing, and for those of you who don't know, movies are my whole deal basically, was a movie by the name of Sam Van Nargis. Sam and Nargis, those are both names. It was directed by Iraj Qaderi, and I don't remember much of it. I remember it was the first movie I have a memory of going to cinema and seeing, and I remember one scene from it, which is the main character being hanged, capital punishment. And so you might have imagined I wasn't very old. I think I was under 10. I don't remember the exact age. I should have looked it up. I didn't. That's not going to change. For those of you long-time listeners, I'm not going to be better prepared. There is not going to be edits where I go and look it up and tell you. I don't remember when exactly how old I was. I know it was under 10. I think it was 6 or 7. And that image stuck with me. So when I was in high school and I was writing stories, I wrote stories about murderers and serial killers because edgy teenager stuff. But I also wrote this story, The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind, and it was about a guy being hanged and everything that was going through his brain at that exact moment, between the not being around his neck, and well, in Iran they use cranes, which fucking hell, this is a dark topic. This is a dark fucking topic. I'm gonna like the stool being pulled from under them. It's like in that moment, and it's not very good. He talks about all of the stuff he did wrong and how he ended up there. I think I was kind of being influenced by that, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, a short story of the guy who fell into his gardening shears and was dying, and like everything went through his mind of what was happening. I think I was influenced by that. I probably, I don't, to be honest, I don't remember the exact state of mind I was in back in high school. Hopefully, I've left that version of myself there a long time ago. But yeah, I wrote that. It genuinely didn't get any attention because it wasn't very well written. Like some of my other stuff are also very bad, but they are at least trying to tell a story. This one was just ramblings. So yeah, it didn't get any attention, but the name kind of stuck with me. I really like the name, The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. And which in Persian, by the way, for you Persian listeners, is آخرین أفکار یک ذهن مشغول. And as I told you, the name is very pretentious. I said semi-pretentious. Well, there is nowhere to go back and check. So, as I was saying, it just didn't get any attention, but I thought the name was something to remember at the very least. Now, funnily enough, as far as I remember the name, I didn't use it much. I didn't use it for any of the scripts I had written. I didn't use it for anything up until 2020. Now, in 2020, something happened. I don't know if you remember it or not, but COVID pandemic happened, and there was mass quarantine. And while I was in quarantine, I finally, I guess, ran out of excuses to do a few things. Now, I always wanted to have a podcast, which at that point, we also started the YASP with my friend Amir Reza, which was short for Yet Another Shitty Podcast. It's at this moment, it's on life support. I don't know if it will ever come back, but it was very fun while it lasted. We did it for 3 seasons. It was very fun. I had tons of fun. And I also started making YouTube videos born in quarantine. But I had my voice recorder, and in 2020, because of the quarantines and all of that, I was feeling extremely isolated and extremely alone. There is no words to actually describe it. I was very alone. I was very angry at the same time because I have abandonment issues. So I was feeling abandoned by everyone and everything just felt off. So I decided to do what any normal person would do. I decided to supplement actual human connections and actual human conversations with online conversations in Twitter. Now, fuck Twitter. Or whatever new name Elon Musk wants to call it. Fuck Twitter. I hated that site for a long time, and watching it slowly die is kind of cathartic for me. So yeah, fuck Twitter. But I started to go on that site a lot more. I started doom scrolling. I started seeing my friends talking to each other, being supportive of each other, and I felt a little bit left out. Again, abandonment issues played a massive part there. But because of all of that, I decided to actually basically project my voice into the world and see what will happen. And that's when I recorded the first episode of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. I sent it to my friend Amir Reza, my co-host on YASP, and he firmly told me not to publish it. He said, it's really bad. You sound like you're asleep. By the way, spoiler alerts, I did publish it. You can go and listen to it. It's chapter 1, 150 chapters ago, 10 seasons ago. But he told me not to publish it. But me being very stubborn, I did. Now, I don't know if Amir is going to ever listen to this. I'm not sure. It's been a while since he has listened to this show, but he was one of the very early supporters. Despite telling me not to publish it and I actively going against his word, he was still very supportive of me. And I will always remember that. There is no words for how much he helped me in that. So I did publish it, and I started recording the episodes weekly. Basically, the whole goal of this show has always been, and will remain to be, my way of talking to the world. Because for 20 minutes each week, I get to sit down and just collect my thoughts and talk to an imaginary audience. Sometimes talking about what happened that week, sometimes talking about, some of the worst qualities of my life and discussing them. Sometimes talking about life in general. Basically, it's a personal journey, and you're all invited because I'm talking to you. So I started recording, and honestly, the first 2-3 seasons, I always had a foot out of the door. If you go back to them, you will listen. You will listen, but you will hear me say, I don't know if I'm going to make a next episode. I don't know if I'll be making a next season. The first 2-3 seasons was always like that. I was really into like the number game back there. Like, oh, this episode got X number of listens. Oh, that's good. This episode got 0. There were a few episodes that got 0 listens, and I was like, oh, well, why am I doing this? Why shouldn't I just let it go? And since then, like around season 4, 5, I came to a personal realization that this isn't a show that get numbers. I'm not famous. I'm not that interesting, to be honest. So there isn't a reason for this show to get numbers unless what I'm saying manages to gather a very few following that feel the same way that I do. So yeah, I realized that the last thoughts of a busy mind, more than anything, is for me. I know, very, very narcissistic, very egocentric, but I realized that it's something for me. I'm sitting here talking to you, and in talking to everyone who listens to this, and even if nobody listens, I'm still speaking to the world in a way that I haven't done before. I'm suddenly not as alone as I used to be. The magic of the internet and all of that. Now, this will never get views, this will never get listens, this will never get anywhere. But I still feel like it's something that I need to do every week. Now, back in the day, the last 10 seasons, the idea was anytime I recorded, I would record at odd hours of the day. It just should have been Friday. And then I would upload it and publish it any time of the day. The episodes came out in 2 a.m. or 11 p.m. just on Friday. I missed a few deadlines, by the way. It bothers me a lot. I missed 2 episodes in the whole 151 episodes that I'm considering this one I'm doing. 2 deadlines. One was for COVID, one was for making my movie. So with all of them kind of behind me, I decided to do something. 10 seasons. Originally, I always thought when I get to 10 seasons, I'm going to stop. That was always the plan in the back of my head, because 150 episodes is a good round number. But honestly, as life happens, as life goes on, I realized there are a lot more things I wanted to talk about. When I started this show, I thought that, by the time I get to the 10th season, I'm going to be leaving Iran, and I'm going to talk about stuff that otherwise I couldn't have because I live in Iran. Not just political stuff, like cultural stuff, stuff relating to me personally. I can't talk about all of them while I'm in Iran. So I thought, by the time I get to the 10th season, I'm going to be out. I have talked about them, but I'm not. And there are still a lot of things I need to talk about. There is still a lot of stories I want to tell. There is still so much to tell you. And so, yeah, we are here in season 11 with a soft reboot. There is going to be a few changes. Now, these are for long-time listeners, so if you're not one of them, thank you for listening so far. And if you want, there is going to be my email in the description. You can send me an email. Now, that is another thing. I'm going to be putting the email in the description from now on. Every episode is going to have that in case you want to contact me. I don't know why I haven't done this before. Now, if you listen to this on YouTube, there is all, of course, comments there. You can like and subscribe. If you listen to this on any other platform, unless you're on Castbox, which I do have the app myself, your best bet of reaching me is the email. I'm not going to check every platform. Again, this is more personal. I don't want this to become my life. It's more of a side project that is extremely personal for people who feel like a personal connection to me. Another thing is, I used to say, send me a voice message. Now, that was a thing that happened in Anchor, which was my primary platform. I used to publish on Anchor, and then it would publish on every other device. Now, Anchor is dead. It's replaced by Spotify for podcasters. Now, it was basically the same interface, but with a new name, but that has changed. It actually changed in the middle of the last season. And very soon, by June, we will not have the ability to receive voice messages from our audiences. So I can't tell you to do that. That's the first big change. The old call to action will not work. So that is gone. Now, the episodes are not going to be edited, but I'm going to try and make them easier to listen to. That means keeping the volume consistent. If it's too loud, I'm going to bring it all down a little bit. And I'm going to use the declicker, mouth declicker, so at least some of the noise is going to go away. Now, I want to learn a little bit more about audio, and there is a chance it might change a little bit more, but it will never be edited, meaning there is nothing cut from the episode. Everything that happens, every fumble, every mistake, every thought that is in my head will come out into the microphone and will reach to you without any alterations to the content itself. There will be just some quality of life added or removed. And the final thing is the scheduling. As I said, I used to record any time in Friday and publish it then. I don't think that's a good idea. Again, this show will not get numbers, but at the same time, after 10 seasons, I think there needs to be a change, at least for my own sake. So there will be a massive change, and that is there won't be random publishing hours anymore. I'll try to record before Friday if it's possible that I don't have time on Friday. I'm recording this on Friday, so that doesn't matter much. But I'm going to record sooner in the day, publish it, get the video, publish that. Upload it, but then publish it at 8 p.m. my time. Every day. Not every day. Every week. Sorry. I'm going to publish on the same exact time. Because I think Friday on 8 p.m. is a good idea. If you are inside of Iran, you're getting ready to sleep and start your next day, and so it would be a good time to listen to it while you're doing your end of the weekend stuff, getting ready for the next day and the next week, because Friday is the weekend in Iran. And if you're outside of Iran, it's the start of your weekend. You can listen to this and then go on with your weekend. So yeah, I think it's a good time. And so with that said, here's to a new season. Season 11 is coming. This was the origin story. Next week, we're going to go back to the usual stuff that I talk about. It's going to be rambling, it's going to be incoherent, but it's going to have a little bit of a better audio quality, and it's going to have at least a semblance of a schedule. With that said, I will bid you all goodbye and ask you to join me next week, same time.